5 seconds.
Good morning, good afternoon, happy Sunday. Welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Poikinen. Big shouts to everyone joining us on Aftermath.fm. Always good to be over here on that platform. We're here every Sunday at this time. Would probably go ahead and cut through to business real quick. We're going to have a ton to talk about today. We're going to be joined by the Convo Couch, Pasta Jardula, Fiorella Isabel, Jonathan Q. Buttons, who just spent last weekend in Nicaragua covering and observing the elections on the ground there. Lots to get into with that. They were smeared by Business Insider. They've now leveled up their I guess hit piece game from the Daily Beast to Business Insider. That's always a commendable moment. Gonna have to make sure to give them their flowers for that. Wow. Actually, we're back on YouTube. I should mention that as well. I think we're live on the other platforms now. So after a week suspension from YouTube for a video that I had done like 2 weeks ago, where all I had done was discuss the appeal hearing of Julian Assange, got a channel strike for that. Here we are back. Gonna try to skirt the waters here a little bit and see if we can make it through the show before another channel strike. The show is brought to you by Matrix Bars. That's the QR code right up there. You can scan that, go down the rabbit hole, and find out all about these delicious psilocybin chocolate bars. Micro or macro dosing, 4 delicious flavors that I'm aware of. Even the strawberries and cream are good, and they shouldn't be, because that flavor in and of itself is an abomination. But wow, they're yummy. They really are. You can DM them on Twitter or Instagram, Matrix Genetics, MatrixGenetix. Again, scan the QR code. Hit them up. Let them know you'd like to learn more about it, and they'll be happy to help you. The show is entirely viewer supported. After several months, like several, finally able to get another GoFundMe. What?
You cut out really bad. Repeat that last sentence.
Oh, okay. Sorry. After several months, finally able to launch a new GoFundMe. Still going through significant troubles with my bank, but have a new thing set up. That is up and active, and I will drop the link into the chat here in just a second. Huge thanks to everybody who has shipped it so far. Anonymous, Corey, Rob Juno, a couple other folks. Thank you very, very much. Can't do the damn thing without you. The other donate links are also active. They're at SlowNewsDayShow for Cashapp and PayPal. And honestly, in the immediate, that is the best way to help. You could always buy Sleepy Josh coffee. buymeacoffee.com/Bort, BORT. Let's see, let's get rid of that. And yeah, we can't do it without you. Oh shit, look at that, the shirts are in it. They're freaking awesome. Truth Revolution Clothing are the people that make these. They're comfy as hell. I really do. Like, there's no bullshit on this. They're high quality. Let me go ahead and grab the link for that too. They're at truthclothing.io. These are the folks that also do the merch for Ryan over at Last American Vagabond. So if you have any of their stuff already, then you already know. but definitely go check them out. I'll drop this link into the chat too. The shirts and the sticker packs are up. I'm talking to them this week about additional designs and hoodies. So those are going to be coming just in time for the winter. And ain't that cool? So here's that link. And eventually, because it's the Convo Couch, what are they going to do? Show up at 10 on the dot? I mean, come on. Come on. That would be absolutely unheard of. But I do want to get into this real quick, and hopefully when they show up, we're still in the middle of it, because this is kind of wild. The New York Times, of all places, the people that I guess broke the story, go ahead and pull up this one. Where'd it go? Here it is. So thanks to both the Internet Archive and antiwar.com for getting this story out there. This is also up over on the libertarianinstitute.com. Shouts to Scott Horton and Pete Quinones. In the last days of the battle against the Islamic State in Syria, when members of the once fierce caliphate were cornered in a dirt field next to a town called Baghouz, a U.S. military drone circled high overhead, hunting for military targets, but it only saw a large crowd of women and children huddled against a riverbank. Without warning, an American F-15E attack jet streaked across the drone's high-def field of vision and dropped a 500-pound bomb on the crowd, swallowing it in a shuddering blast. As the smoke cleared, a few people stumbled away in search of cover. Then a jet tracking them dropped one 2,000-pound bomb, then another, killing most of the survivors. It was March 18, 2019. The U.S. military's busy Combined Air Operations Center at the Al Udeid, I think I'm probably butchering that, air base in Qatar. Sorry. Uniformed personnel watching the live drone footage looked on in stunned disbelief, according to one officer who was there, who dropped that. A confused analyst typed on a secure chat system being used by those monitoring the drone. Two people who reviewed the chat log recalled. Another responded, "We just dropped on 50 women and children." An initial battle damage assessment quickly found that the number of the dead was actually around 70. Wow. Yeah, I apologize for being blurry. Not sure what to do about that. Don't know. Really don't. But the article's up and hopefully it's not blurry. Let me know if that's
the share screen's fine. It's just your audio keeps cutting out. Do you have VPN?
The audio does? God damn it.
Are you on VPN?
Huh?
Are you on VPN or something?
No. No, I'm on a hotspot from my kid who's like 10 feet away from me, but I'm not sure where his phone is. And if his phone's like way the heck away, then it's not going to be working nearly as well. Oh, could you please plug that in? It's plugged in. No, it's not. It's not plugged in. It's charged. Okay, let me see it. Jesus, kid. All right. Anywho, hopefully that's a little bit better. I don't know.
It's not cutting out with word now, so.
Okay. Yeah. No, that would effectively be the only solution to that is to bring the phone closer. I don't know, dude. It's how we do. Anyway, going back to the article. The Baghouz strike was one of the largest civilian casualty incidents of the war against the Islamic State, but it has never been publicly acknowledged by the U.S. military. The details reported here for the first time. The death toll was almost immediately apparent to military officials. A legal advisor flagged the strike. Our legal officer flagged the strike as a possible war crime that, let's see. Okay, Pasta and Fear having some issues setting up, but they're almost here. I am equally as shocked as you are, Sleepy. equally.
Right.
Legal officer flagged the strike as a possible war crime that required an investigation, but at nearly every step, the military made moves that concealed the catastrophic strike. The death toll was downplayed, reports were delayed, sanitized, and classified. U.S.-led coalition forces bulldozed the blast site, and top leaders were not notified. The independent inspector general began an inquiry, but the report containing its findings was stalled and stripped of any mention of the strike. Leadership just seemed so set on burying this. No one wanted to do anything with it. Well, you think, I mean, golly, if you're dropping a total of nearly 5,000 pounds of bomb on a group of women and children, people might get mad about that. Well, fucking crazy. Now here's what's extra nuts. The New York Times can release this article, and what? Like, is anybody gonna do shit about it? Like, I mean, I've seen a handful of people that you would expect who have been consistently and genuinely anti-war throughout. Some of the people who've come around in the last few years, retweet this article. Hopefully there will be a little bit of discussion about it going forward, but there's no accountability for this. None. And this isn't even like errant drone strike, where, oh, whoops, the Hellfire landed in the middle of the wedding and happened to take people out. This is what, at F-15 they came careening in, and then a follow-up run. There was an additional mop-up after the first bomb was dropped. That's not an oopsie. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, totally shocked that the Convo couch is having a little bit of difficulty. I'm not sure where Pasta is. I know Fee and Johnny are in Peru currently. Anyway, let me go back to the article here. Gene Tate, evaluator who worked on the case for the IG's office and agreed to discuss the aspects that were not classified, makes you lose faith in the system when people are trying to do what's right, but no one in position of leadership wants to hear it. Well, this is exactly what our friend David McBride has had to go through for the last several years from the standpoint of being an Australian Army lawyer and trying to go through the chain of command to expose the war crimes that the Australian Army was up to that he discovered, and he was rebuffed and shut down at every turn, and every report that he tried to file was sanitized or scrubbed of any information that would lead another set of eyes to believe that a potential war crime or actual war crime had occurred. Shout out to David McBride, by the way. Love that dude. Mr. Tate, a former Navy officer who had worked for years as a civilian analyst with the Defense Intelligence Agency and the National Counterterrorism Center before moving to the IG's office, said he criticized the lack of action and was eventually forced out of the job. The details of the strikes were pieced together by MIT over months of confidential documents and descriptions of classified reports. They're not even letting the New York Times see it. Interesting. And officials with top secret security clearances who discussed the incident on the condition they not be named. I do love this. So the bombing had been called in by a classified American Special Operations Unit, Task Force 9, which was in charge of ground operations in Syria. The task force operated in such secrecy that at times it did not inform even its own military partners of its actions. In the case of the Bagus bombing, the American Air Force Command in Qatar had no idea the strike was coming. An officer at the command center said, right, because that's what you want. You want independently functioning, fully compartmentalized military units that are entirely unaccountable to the actual command center where the jet is being, I guess, launched from or controlled by. I mean, I bubble over with confidence at that. This is your security force. It is. Let's see. Go back to this. See if I can talk over the crinkling. In the minutes after the strike, an alarmed Air Force intelligence officer in the operations center called over an Air Force lawyer. I mean, again, the confidence that I am brimming over with, there just happens to be an Air Force lawyer right there on hand. Hey, come here, legal demon. Guess what we done did? The lawyer ordered the F-15E squadron and the drone crew to preserve all video and other evidence. According to documents obtained by the Times, he went upstairs and reported the strike to his chain of command, saying it was a possible violation of the law of armed conflict. Whoopsie, a war crime, and regulations required a thorough independent investigation, but a thorough independent investigation never happened. Say it ain't so. Sleepy Josh, say it ain't so. I find that, I find that incredibly hard to believe. Hey, looky there. Yeah, so let me come away from the article and welcome back to the show. I did say this on Twitter. They are two of my favorite human beings on the planet, and there's a third behind the camera that will hopefully get it, or at least we'll hear his dulcet voice. Craig Pasta-Jardula, Fiorella Isabel, Jonathan Q. Buttons. Boy, I love you all. It's good to see you. How's it going?
It's great to hear you, and we love you and we miss the shit out of you too, Steve.
Steve, what's up, fam?
Hey.
What is up? You wouldn't believe what happened just before we came on. There was a random dude with a guitar singing very loud Jesus music outside, and that literally happened right before we came on. So
I mean, it is Sunday.
Yeah.
We had to move the whole set from one room to the other, and as soon as we got in here and got everything going, he stopped and then moved, and then we had a power issue. Shit blew, but it's like, we're going to get there, and now we're here, buddy. We're here with you, and we're so happy that you have us on. You're going to actually be the first we get to talk to, right? From the fams, from the actual fams, from people that we love and we miss, and that we just, man, dude, like, really, it's been an amazing trip all together. Nicaragua was amazing. But, when I texted the other day that we really do miss you, we miss our fams. We do, and thank you so much for having us on, brother.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we can at least provide you with a platform that isn't Business Insider for you to discuss what the elections were, what your role in this was, you filthy commie propagandist. I want to get into that. I do. But I was in the middle of talking about, I don't even know if you guys saw it yet. New York Times released a story about the U.S. military covering up a civilian airstrike in Syria in 2019, little less than 2 weeks, I think almost 2 weeks to the day, or 12 days from the anniversary of the Duma false flag. It was right around the same time. And again, just a massive cover up in Syria, a lot of civilian death. And I don't know. I mean, what are the odds that we know that there's not going to be any accountability in an empire, but what are the odds that, like, anyone outside of us and, the antiwar.com audience and writers actually mark this occasion.
Yeah. You have anything?
No, you got it.
All right. Well, I mean, I honestly didn't hear about that. So that's news to me, Steve. I had no, but it's not surprising considering the fact that the U.S. and Israel are constantly bombing Syria, constantly bombing Palestinians. So, yeah, but and that's the thing that we'll get into in a minute is the propaganda machine and how strong it is and how, the left as we know it is entirely different in the global south, and we're going to talk about that. I think they would be canceled by what is considered left in America right now, because a lot of what's considered left in America or they basically play team sports, as you say. They basically are no different than the Democrats and the Republicans in terms of foreign policy. So that's something I really want to get into, because specifically regarding imperialism and the elections, it's crazy to me how right-wing a lot of their beliefs would seem for a lot of people. The cappuccino commies,
such as
calls them.
I also got to say, Steve, the right is very different in Latin America than it is in America as well, because it's like, it's no joke out there. We talk, our media is obsessed with what happened on January 6th, where, unfortunately, and death is a sad thing, especially when somebody has to go unexpectedly by a bullet to the throat, or a cop passing away the next day. I don't even know how it's connected, but they say so. And a few people injured, where they had an uprising here, in 2018 in Nicaragua, where, hundreds of people died, you know what I'm saying? And the right in that situation had actual weapons and were fighting with the police in the streets. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big learning experience out here. But that whole story from the New York Times and what happened, it doesn't surprise me at all. The bullshit that's going on, the propaganda, the things we experience. Actually, Johnny, got so heated in the moment when we were out in the elections, when the New York Times, some lady was sitting in her desk probably in Long Island writing about what was going on in the actual elections with polling places when we were actually there, and they weren't. And they were just throwing out this massive, propaganda campaign, trying to do anything to put the Sandinista government down, when in fact the people of Nicaragua love the Sandinista government. They love what they've done for them, and they went out and voted in mass.
Well, and this is a what, 40-year now project. I don't have volume. Can anyone hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Interesting. It was like a 40 or so year history of the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, of these a leftist or socialist government trying to occasionally seizing power in Nicaragua, and then the U.S. and the West and European or NATO mining interests, other resource acquisition specialists have been doing their damnedest to destabilize the country and to make sure that that they can maintain a toehold there, if not complete corporate capture of it. I'm curious what the Sandinista government's response to like the fourth industrial revolution is, and the level of partnership that they have with CDC or WHO. Can you wait until I'm done? Of course, yeah, I already said you could. Yeah. Kids, man. Kids. At any rate, I swear to God, dude. Like I did, I'm like, hey, look, I know the camera's pointed at the door. If you have to go in and out, just don't even fucking worry about it. Do it. It's not like this is an uber professional setting over here. But anywho, trying to give like a very, very, very cursory breakdown of 4 decades of Western imperialism versus the Sandinista government. What does it look like in terms of the WEF, Fourth Industrial Revolution, Build Back Better bullshit?
Right. One of the things that I actually mentioned while I was there, after hearing Daniel Ortega talk, when he gave his speech was basically a history lesson, 40 years during the attendance of many delegates and many delegations at the Revolution Plaza in Managua. And he was basically going over how America has pretty much tried to take over Nicaragua multiple times. And the way he spoke about Yankee imperialism and the way he spoke about the way the United States and the West are trying to pretty much take over the world, he called the people from the WHO all Nazis. And it wasn't in terms of just racial Nazis. He talked about the privatization of resources and of of pretty much every natural environment that is out there. He talked about the overtaking of people's lands. So he hasn't mentioned, the words "the Great Reset." But when we were there, I was saying I have a hard time thinking that Daniel Ortega is going to go and be a part of the Charles Schwab's whole fourth industrial revolution agenda, because they're very much anti unnecessary technology. Even his guardsmen are basically the Sandinistas' youth, and they basically just cover him up. They don't have metal detectors when you go in. To us, that would seem a little bit like, where's the security? They don't have all this sort of the similar type of security. And as far as the vaccine goes, while they encourage the vaccine in terms of going door to door and providing it for those who want it, there is no vaccine mandate. They're very lax with the mask thing. I mean, and you can see the workers in most hotels wear them, but we often had people with us that were there that felt like us about, the lack of necessity of a mask, especially outside and even in the hotel. So most places we didn't have to wear the mask. I mean, I especially the indigenous populations, you find out they don't really the vaccine thing isn't really a huge issue to them. Now, as far as the way the country has handled it, they did clap themselves on the back for being able to provide these vaccines. But the vaccines that they've provided are the Chinese vaccine, the Russian vaccine. I think they were talking about the Cuban vaccine and the AstraZeneca, but it's not at all the same.
I want to point out to the YouTube censor demons, since we are back from a week suspension, this is merely a recounting of an experience in a country that does not fall under U.S. press jurisdictions. So just make it that perfectly clear, because fuck you guys, Jesus fuck this. Anywho, so I mean, we're gonna get into the Business Insider article here in a few, and I honestly don't know how much time you guys have. I don't know what time you have to be to the General Strike Summit. Any of that stuff.
50 minutes, 40 minutes,
okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
And by the way, Steve, just piggybacking on what Fiorella said too, is very important. They didn't have a lockdown. You know what I'm saying? Daniel Ortega said, listen, it might be something out there, but Sandinistas and the people of Nicaragua, we need to eat. So we are not having a lockdown, and we are continuing to go into work. And I don't know if there was something that when somebody told him that how a lockdown affects the general population is worse, will have worse, results like in the United States, when you just don't go and you don't try uber hard to take those in need and isolate them and let the rest of the population do as they please or go back to work or make sure they maintain their lives. I don't know if someone told him that if they did do what the United States did, the results would be way worse. But regardless, he said, we need to eat, no lockdown, let's go. So that's something that's really interesting to talk about too, as compared to what the United States did, was locking everybody down and causing so many other problems and so many other issues. That's something,
and
that
we'll do that in about 15 minutes when we drop the YouTube feed. We will. We could get into all of that when we kick ourselves off of YouTube for here at about 15 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that.
Perfect. Sorry about that.
Oh no,
crazy.
Dude,
Gotta watch our words.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Crazy. You can get on YouTube.
Last time we got suspended was for something Assange related. It was stupid.
Yeah, last time we got suspended was going over the Arizona audit hearing. It's crazy. And hi, Sleepy. Love you, brother.
Hey, boss.
Put that disclaimer, guys. on the YouTube. The disclaimer that's in any YouTube video that we talk about the boop boop and all that. Like
Right.
It's worked for us.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I will. I mean, they have a target where everybody at MCSC has a target.
We know that, yeah.
And then I was on with Burmis earlier this week. He's suspended for 2 weeks, may not get his channel back. I mean, they're just coming at everybody, which is why you want to support us on Rockfin or Odyssey and these other platforms. Definitely do that. If you haven't made your free Rockfin account, you have the opportunity to do that here in a minute, because I'm going to drop the link to the stream in the chat here shortly. Okay, so let's kind of set it up, because Caleb Maupin, did he contact you or did you contact him? And kind of walk us through how you got to Nicaragua while I'm pulling up this Business Insider article.
Well, Caleb is a friend, so we talk here and there. You know, obviously we had a little bit of a
because you
relationship
associate with communists.
Unfortunately, we do. I guess I don't know. You got us, Steve. You got me.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? It's not unfortunate, but I know Fam is right. It's not unfortunate. Yes, we do. We talk to everybody. We talk to humans. So, you know, I mean, he had told us of the trip and we had spoken. We were saying, and I said, well, is it an invitation for us to go ahead with you guys? And he said, yeah, well, why don't you come on and check it on out? But he didn't talk it from a perspective of, you know, politics. He talked to us from a perspective of, we're election integrity specialists. That's what we do, you know. And I have told him before, if there's ever a chance we can observe any elections from anybody you know, please let us know. And I said this before at the press conference, Steve, I don't give a damn who was on the ticket. I was there for one thing only. So was the Convo couch. So was Fam. So everybody else. And that was to observe and scrutinize the elections.
Right.
And I mean, just real quick before you get into that, real quick, the Business Insider article opens with a picture where there's graffiti that has the word murderer spray painted over Ortega's face. That's a little bit heavy-handed. And then the opening line is quoting Biden saying the elections were a sham. That's how Business Insider decides to open the piece. Go ahead, Fee. Sorry. I'll pull that back up.
No, I mean, the Business Insider article was a complete, you know, obviously a smear piece, hyper focused on how we got there when that's not really the thing we should be discussing, because I mean, we do elections. So I did the elections in Peru. We've done elections in North America, in the United States, and we want to do more elections. So that's why we were there. And like the whole, you know, the way the article was framed as these are like spies for like funded and paid by the Sandinistas government to go and work a narrative for the Sandinistas and the communists. Ooh, and they're also tied with the Russians. Like it was very McCarthyite type of a smear piece. But I just want to say that even if all of that were true, which obviously it isn't, even if all that were true, the Business Insider has, you know, ties to extremely problematic individuals. They always go after anti-imperialists. And then you have people like Owen Higgins and Elliot Higgins, who's tied to Bellingcat, coming at us too and writing a bunch of, you know, articles on how we're anti-vaxxers. And they also talked about, you know, us being anti-mandate, which has nothing to do with the subject at hand, which is why a lot of people don't give interviews to people like Business Insider, because they're going to take what you say and twist it. And so we were Pasta, you know, he'll talk to anybody. So he was like one of the few people that hack got to interview. So yeah, I mean, the article was dumb. It was just framed from a U.S. Western pro-imperialist perspective. And we can get into how and why that is.
It's so bad. So bad. Go ahead, Pasta.
No, I was just going to say the only mistake I made was not filming it myself or recording it myself and then using that against him, because the article is nothing like how the conversation went. It was nothing at all. You know, obviously in the very beginning, he was kind of picking at stuff. I'm like, is this what this interview is about? Are we not going to talk about the process of the election? Do you want to know about that? And he's like, oh, wait, I'm sorry. You know, let's talk about the process of the election. Let's get into it. you know, and then there were certain things that he was trying to, you know, like corner me on. And, you know, I was always, you know, I just fought back, like the instance he was talking about. Well, you know, it's obvious to me that, you know, an election process could be fair and everything you're saying. Yeah, it could be fair. But if you remove all your competition, is it really fair then? And I was like, well, you're kind of twisting things there now. You know, a lot of the people that were removed, none of them were candidates. They were pre-candidates. And a lot of those pre-candidates got funding from NGOs like the NED and other countries like America and the West. Would America allow a candidate to be funded by North Korea or Iran and run in these elections here? Well, no. Well, that never made it into the article. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Stuff
if
like
you
that
look at
never
the
made it
funding
into
to the Clinton Foundation, you could make the argument that Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and a number of other countries have funded. Israel funds U.S. elections every year. So, I mean, that argument in and of itself is just, it's the same whataboutism that allows for this like circular conversation over electoral politics when, you know, we don't need the state. I think I want to jump over to Rockfin. I do, and I have a clip to play that I have to get your reaction to. So Sleepy, if you don't mind, go ahead and pull the Elmo clip, and I'm gonna grab the Rockfin link and drop it in the chatty chat.
All right.
And,
Once we get over, I'll add it because it'll just instantly start playing it.
Oh, okay. So here's the link to the Rockfin. All you have to do is click the link to watch the show. If you want to participate in the chat and you don't have an account, you can go ahead and make your free Rockfin account. If you love what we do, you can endorse the channel. It's $9.99 a month. You get all of the paywall content on the platform. It's a fantastic way to support your favorite content creators. And you get wonderful people over there, like the entire MCSE network, all of the Convo Couches premium stuff, including the shows that Pasta does with his shirt off. That's the only fams. It is. That's the late night show. But anyway, rokfin.com/SlowNewsDay. Go ahead and hit us up. We'll see you over there. If you're watching on YouTube, why? They censor the shit out of us. Watch us on platforms that encourage free speech and critical thinking. Let's go ahead and lose the YouTube. And see you in hell, YouTube.